What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Layback podcast. Joining us today is USC Trojan right-handed arm Chase Herrell. We got connected with Chase, a couple of years ago now, back when he was at Ohio State, and now it's just been a long, winding relationship dealing with a few arm things in the process, but we're so excited to see him healthy, competing this past year, and playing a major role in a super dynamic role for the USC Trojans, getting some starts, throwing in relief, and possibly one of the coolest things he did was get the win against Texas A&M to advance to the Super Regional, and then unfortunately he was on the mound for the loss for the UNC game. So definitely kind of two sides of the coin there, but hey, as you alluded to off air, what an honor it is to be in that situation and even have the opportunity. But we'll get into that in a bit. So that's our little breadcrumb teaser for everyone. But Chase, thanks so much for coming on, and I'm going to kick it over to you for a little bit more on the bio.
From Milford, Ohio. I went to Milford High School, just a public school in Cincinnati. Committed to Ohio State, I think going into my junior year, I want to say. Was there for my first 2 years and then transferred to USC this past year. And I was my first year there. So,
So just completed the redshirt sophomore year, correct?
correct.
Yes. So yeah, played your freshman year at Ohio
Yeah.
State, knocked out a few games your sophomore year before getting the medical hardship, and then
hmm
ultimately transferred this past summer.
Yeah.
Right.
I think I had like 40 innings freshman year, five starts my sophomore year, and then had the med red and then played my full season this year. So,
Right.
mhm.
Okay. Where do you think the best place to start is? Do you think it's right into the Ohio State collegiate career, or were the seeds sown younger than that with just who Chase Herrell is today? Are there any details worth talking about in the high school progression?
I mean, I think my high school progression was a big important thing for me. Like it
Okay.
kind of like made me who I was as a player in person. Grew up with my dad. My dad, he played college ball at a small D2 in Kentucky, Kentucky Wesleyan, and he works for the Reds now. He's a season ticket sales manager, so he's been around the game a lot. But like high school baseball had some really good coaches. Like first 3 years of my career, we had a old school guy who'd been there for 30 or so years, and he was an amazing coach. Loved him. My summer organization, I played from 8U to 18U at, and they were kind of similar. That was Midland out of Batavia, Ohio, and they were similar, kind of like drill into you the basics, kind of the fundamentals, all the small ball, all that. I think growing up throughout that was a big thing for me, learning about that stuff when I was young. And then it kind of helped me when I got to college. Because, like, I mean, it was always you got to throw strikes, pitch. That came first before like trying to throw hard and still trying to learn how to throw hard per se. But that was kind of instilled in me from an early age. And then got to Ohio State, had a good fall my freshman year, kind of started out as the midweek starter, and then probably had, I don't know, five or so starts, I want to say, at the beginning of the year. Kind of transitioned to long relief in the bullpen on the weekends. Kind of did both here and there, and we made the Big Ten tournament, but that was cool. First time going to Omaha, first not the College World Series, but having the Big
That's
Ten.
right. Big Ten
Yeah,
tournament in Omaha.
it's
Super
cool.
weird, by the
I
way,
know.
that why is the Big Ten tournament there? Not that you would know the answer
I think
necessarily.
it's because of Nebraska, because their fans are crazy and
They
they'll go
travel
to
well. Yeah.
they and even if they're not playing, they're still going to show up. So it's a cool environment, but I like it there. It's cool, a lot of history there. Um,
No doubt.
mhm.
Well, if I can steer you one
Yeah.
direction right
hmm
here, you dropped that you played for Midland. And for those who are super deep in the travel baseball circuit,
hmm
and for those who are deep in the circuit, I I don't know, you're in my thoughts because that
hmm
is a tough world to be deep in if you are very
Yeah.
invested in it. I'm sorry that that is your existence, but
hmm
unfortunately, some of us, and I'm one of those people just because of the nature of what we do. I have to know a lot about these organizations.
Hmm.
That being said, Midland is one of the most prestigious travel ball organizations around and truly was probably like one of the first big name travel
Hmm.
organizations. I mean, the alumni are crazy. You guys have it listed on your website. So what was it like kind of growing up in that environment? Because you said you did
Hmm.
it from 8U to 18U, right?
Hmm. Yeah. Literally my whole entire travel ball career was spent with that one organization and literally just worked my way up and then got to the top team, the Redskins, played on them my junior and senior summer. Just being around there all the time and the history and they have all the names plastered all over and you just see like I mean I trained there in the all season and stuff like I'm still really close with all the coaches. I was there the other day. That's where I work out. That's where I spend my time. It was a great opportunity and blessing. I wouldn't be where I am without them. Just they've taught me a lot and they still help me out. They're still checking in on me and just seeing all the names and all the past people that have played there before you. It's really cool. So,
I'll quickly name drop a few for you. Chris Carpenter, Barry Larkin might be the most famous one. That's the one I remember hearing as a kid the first time my travel
mm,
organization played against Midland. I remember everyone saying, "Oh, Barry Larkin, that was Barry Larkin's club," because that was also at a time where I might be dating myself a little bit. I don't know if you ever played the game, but it would consume my childhood playing backyard baseball, the computer
hmm.
game. And
Yeah.
Barry Larkin was on the first backyard
Hmm.
baseball. So I was like, oh my gosh, like he's the
Hmm.
guy. But I guess you're a big Reds family. So Barry Larkin
Giant.
is, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Barry Larkin
Ken
is that
Griffey
dude.
too.
Ken Griffey in the mix. And
Hmm.
then I saw Shelly Duncan was on the roster, guy that my family is close with, Johnny Giavitello was on there. So,
Hmm.
I mean, tons of big leaguers. I encourage anyone to go on there, look at the website. Now, this is a little bit of a funky question, maybe. Did being in that organization from a young age, seeing all those names, do you feel that helped prepare you for the professional mindset from an earlier age, like kind of giving
Hmm.
you a sense of belonging as well as maybe like a respect for the game that others might
Hmm.
not have?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, just knowing like people have done it before you and like plenty have done it before you and knowing it's doable. It's not like this thing that can't happen. And then like they all over the walls they have like respect the game plastered. So like that's a
That
big
was not
thing.
intentional on my part. I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah. So like that's a big thing. And it's just like instilling the values of baseball like into you from an early age.
And when you were a kid, like if
Mhm.
you were on the 10U team, did they
Mhm.
have like the top prospect guys like talk to your teams at all? Is there like cross
So,
team communication?
there would be sometimes, like sometimes you'd happen to be there and like a college guy or a former pro guy would be there. Like I remember he's in the minor leagues right now, but Cal Conley, he played at Texas Tech. He won shortstop of the year. He was always around and he talked to us a few times when I was growing up, so that was cool. But like Scooter Jeanette, he played at Midland and he came and talked to us once and that was like when he was doing really good on the Reds. Like he had
That was
had
when he hit
the
like five
four
home runs and
four
like,
home runs.
yeah,
Yeah. So like seeing them there, like just being around, it was like really cool to see and kind of fanboying when you see those guys. So
for
it was
sure.
great.
So speaking of fanboying,
Mm-hmm.
when you were entering your recruiting process, you obviously
Mm-hmm.
had Midland there to help, and they've got
Mm-hmm.
connections all over the place. But Ohio State comes calling. Were
Mm-hmm.
you fanboying a little bit when Ohio State was entering the mix?
So like kind of. I didn't grow up a Ohio State fan. Like honestly, like sometimes it would suck growing up in Ohio not being an Ohio State fan
Who
because
were
like
you a fan of?
I was a fan of Louisville. My dad's from
Okay.
Kentucky, so he grew up a Louisville fan. But like when they did come calling, it's pretty sweet, a big name. And one of my best friends growing up playing with, he was committed to Ohio State as well. We roomed there, and I was like, dude, let's go. Like they just hit me up. We're gonna do this like 4 more years. Let's do it. So Clay Burdett, he's on Xavier now. Real good dude. But honestly, that was a big part too. Knowing somebody I was close with was going there, I was like, this is sweet. Like, and I committed pretty quick when they came.
And were you recruited by the current staff or the prior staff?
So I was actually recruited by Greg Beals. He was there for like, I don't know, I'd say 10 years, something like that. And then my senior year of high school, he got let go. And then Bill Mazziello and his staff came in. And luckily, I didn't have any problems with that. Like, didn't have to get re-recruited per se, like, stay committed. And then
Hmm.
their second year was my first year there. Then they left, and then the
Oh,
new staff
shoot.
came. Yeah.
I guess I didn't realize that. So you technically, by your sophomore year,
Mhm.
had gone through more or less, granted you weren't on campus for all of it, but
Yeah.
you went through
Hmm.
three coaching staffs. So
Hmm.
you constantly were in this process of getting to know new people. And
No doubt.
I would like to hear a little bit more about that experience from your end as a player,
Hmm.
because you obviously commit because of not just the name, right?
Hmm.
Like it's cool that they are the big name in the state for sure,
Yeah.
but you
Hmm.
committed because of what potential you had wearing scarlet and gray and what
Hmm.
you thought the school could provide for you in your career. So
Hmm.
what was it like having to kind of relearn that process each time and
Hmm.
understand the different visions that each staff had for you?
Hmm. I mean, it's definitely weird, like, not like having a ton of carryover into one year into the next with the coaching staff. But there's only so much you can do. It's kind of just keep your level head, like keep doing what you do, keep being yourself and like not changing for that just because there's somebody new in there. And I think like because like I got to play a decent amount my freshman year and kind of grew to know college baseball better, like it was a little easier for me because like I wasn't worried about getting cut or something with the new staff, so that helped a lot. But I mean, just being yourself, that's the main thing for me is just don't changing.
Now that's a really good answer. I'm not trying to say it isn't because of
Hmm.
course that's just another way of saying control what you can control. If
Hmm.
you're focused on yourself and your own processes, you're focused on what you can ultimately impact
Hmm.
each and every day, which is super important. It prevents the situation from getting too big.
Yeah.
Now, I do want to challenge you a little bit though, and
Okay.
I guess kind of like pick at your answer. I do think that each coach, although they see you had a good result your freshman year or good
Hmm.
results in high school when they're bringing you in, I'm sure they think that they can provide something a little bit different for you, or they say, like,
100.
whether it's how they view your mechanics or the way you move,
Hmm.
how they view throwing programs. What was it like having, I guess, different messaging each
Hmm.
year, and how did you manage that?
So I would say I've been blessed to have like coaches that allow you to have a lot of freedom in what you do. Like it's never like you really have to do one thing or another thing. It's like here are the resources. We're going to suggest stuff, of course, and we want you to try it. And if you don't like it, you can move on from it, but try it. And a lot of the times you try it and then you'll have good coaches. So like it'll work and it'll be a new part of your routine. And it's just like being open-minded to what they have to say and being coachable. That's a
Mhm.
big thing too.
Well, let's get back to the actual on-field play. So you had a
Hmm.
very successful freshman year as far
Hmm.
as a freshman campaign can go. What would you have like a 4.5 ERA,
Hmm.
something like
Yeah.
that? And what'd
Hmm.
you say, like 40 something innings?
Yeah, 40
So
innings.
you threw a ton, and I'm assuming that means you took the summer off, or did you play
Yeah.
summer
Hmm.
ball? Okay, so
Took the summer off.
took the summer off. New coaching staff comes in, correct? And you're going into fall. What's kind of your approach then to sophomore year?
It was just like earn a weekend spot. Like that's all that I cared about was like trying to do what I can do to pitch on the weekends. Like that was always a goal of mine. And actually my fall, I didn't get to pitch a lot, like actually at all. I didn't throw any that fall because that's when I had a forearm flare up with the tendinosis. And
Mm,
then that's kind of when like I started talking to Daryl about it.
right.
And that's kind of like when our relationship started to, like mine with Flex Pro started to blossom.
I would love for you to kind of talk about that a little bit more
Hmm.
because that is kind of the bug that started things. And then
Yeah.
ultimately, I know it wasn't your forearm that entirely kept you
Yeah.
out of your true sophomore season,
Mm-hmm.
but let's talk about how the forearm actually popped up on you.
Mm-hmm.
So, how long did you take off during that freshman to sophomore summer? And then what
Mm-hmm.
was your reintroduction to throwing looking like prior to that forearm flare up?
Mm-hmm. So actually, my freshman year, probably like the pretty much the entire back half of the year, I had a flexor issue. Like I had a flexor tendonitis. So I mean, I just took anti-inflammatories, kind of the staple. Like just take those, pitch through it, and then like finally got done with the year, and we're like, all right, take time off. So took some time off, started re-ramping back up, kind of flared up a little bit, took another deload, then started again, felt good, got into pens, and then flared up again, but this time worse, and it was tendinosis. And I mean, I had like no idea what tendinosis was. Like I
Like
was
what
like,
the actual difference between
yeah, I was
tendonitis and
like, what
tendinosis
do you
was.
mean? What is that not the same thing? Like, so that was confusing and definitely stressful. And luckily enough, I had the Flex Pro device, but like I hadn't really been using it. Like I just kind of had it. Like it was just a tool and I wasn't really using it that much. And then funny enough, like the timing, Daryl reached out like a week after I got my MRI. He's like, "Hey, like what's going on? So you haven't used the device in a while." I'm like, "Yeah, actually I just got an MRI, had tendinosis." And I'm like, I was told to like just take time off, like don't do anything with it, just let it heal. And then hopped on a Zoom with him immediately. And he's like, all right, you need to start strengthening this because you're stupid weak. Like, I think I did the rapid flexion test, or I think it was, and it was like your peak velocity, like strength wise, was like 81. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
your scored velocity ceiling.
yeah. And I was like, that's not good. Like, no wonder my forearm keeps hurting. So that was kind of eye-opening. Like we can attack this. Like we can work on it, and that was huge. And ended up working with him a bunch. He helped me with the like return to throw too. So that was a big thing too. But like forearm felt great, and that was the first time in a while. And luckily enough, I haven't had any forearm issues since then. But did get hurt my sophomore year, which sucked because I was having a good year to start the year. Like first two starts, my arm felt good. Threw against Arizona State, went pretty well. Threw against Coastal, that was my best outing of the year. And then
So
like
really good outings against really good teams.
yeah, and then like the next day, like after Coastal, try to throw, and I'm like, why? Like it feels like there's a knife in my shoulder right now when I'm throwing. Like what is going on? And I'm like, all right, must just be like a soreness or something. Like, I don't know. Like, hopefully it goes away. Get back to Ohio, keep trying to throw. Doesn't feel good. And then I'm like, all right, let's start going on Twitter, figure out what's going on.
Because
Like,
Twitter
because
has
I'm,
all the answers,
yeah,
right?
right. But like just trying to Google anything I can find to like figure out what's going on with my shoulder. Kind of like narrowed it down to what it ended up being, which was internal impingement. And then threw three more outings on it. Yeah. First two were like okay. Well, the second one, numbers wise, was okay, but I like walked five guys and was throwing like 85 to 88. And I'm like, all right, there's something wrong. But still threw another outing after that, and it went very poorly. Gave up a lot of runs in that one and wasn't sharp at all. And I'm like, all right, let's keep going. But that next week, it just became too much. And I'm like, I can't keep doing this. Get the MRI with my shoulder, internal impingement with a small labral tear from 8 to 9 o'clock. And I'm like, oh no. And then just shut down for the rest of the year.
And then just crushed it on rehab, right?
Yeah, crushed it.
Well, let's backpedal a little bit
Mhm.
just before
Yeah.
we jump ahead to the shoulder rehab because
hmm
we certainly covered a lot of time
hmm
from your forearm or your flexor tendinosis. I was going
hmm
to say flexor strain. That would be kind of minimizing or like
hmm
switching the narrative a little bit. So I want to make sure
hmm
I'm specific with my words. But
Yeah.
the flexor tendinitis, which you dealt with your freshman
hmm
year, manifested into flexor tendinosis. One thing that I want to address more for the masses this isn't
hmm
so much you necessarily need to comment on. Of
hmm
course, if you are at a point where you feel you have something to say on it, please do.
hmm
But that's literally the perfect example of rest will make your symptoms go away, but it's not going to solve the problem.
Exactly.
Because that's, of course, you're going to feel better not doing
hmm
anything. You,
hmm
you you stopped throwing, you were lifting, and because lifting
hmm
doesn't stress your forearm or stress your medial elbow the same way that throwing is, you're gonna
hmm
feel great. And then the
hmm
second for you, you start throwing anything over 80 miles per hour, you're gonna have a flare up. And of course, you can play catch with your dad. You can play catch with a buddy. You can do the first 3 weeks of an on ramp completely fine. But it's the second you step on the gas again because all of a sudden you have surpassed the amount of stress that your body is capable of handling. So I just wanted to make sure that we covered that. And that's why it
hmm
is so important to actually address a soft tissue injury with load because
hmm
load is what a tendon or a muscle actually responds to and can create and stimulate healing. So I'm glad that you did finally get on the right track because I do remember major throwback, and this might have been the fall of your freshman year at Ohio State. I think you got Flex Pro, you did a strength A day, and then maybe like a week later, you called me and you said, I'm trying to use my Flex Pro and none of the forces are showing up. And I said, are you pressing up? Because it looks like you're doing a B day. And you
hmm
said, no, I think that's the problem. I was like, well, there
Yep.
you go. I think we solved it. And then that
hmm
might have been like your last Flex Pro session for another like 9 months.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely felt dumb doing that, but
So I
it was,
apologize if I made you feel dumb. And then
oh
that's what
no.
shuts you down from Flex
No,
Pro.
It was just kind of like, I mean, I was young and it was just kind of like, oh no, like, am I going to work my forearms too much and then it's going to lead into poor performance?
You just had so many
But
things. I get it as a
hmm
freshman in college, you're in
yeah.
a new environment, you're trying to earn a spot. It's all the
hmm
variables that you talked about previously. Also,
hmm
we can probably mention, I don't know if you felt this, but I think it is very common for athletes at any level, whether it's adolescent athletes, whether it is amateur athletes, and not that college athletes are amateurs anymore with NIL and the way guys can collect checks, but
hmm
the pros as well. Everyone thinks they are invincible until it happens to them. And
100%.
then that's kind of the slap in the face moment where it's like, oh, I should probably do this.
Yeah, 100%.
So I'm assuming you felt that way.
That like on to the T, like exactly like that.
Well, it's unfortunate that you did have that slap in the face moment, but thankfully it was
Thankful.
tendinitis
Yeah.
and tendinosis and something that we could
hmm
train through. Of course, knock on wood that everything is going well at this
hmm
time and that you were able to at least get back on the bump for a bit your sophomore year before the shoulder injury manifested. So now
hmm
let's spend some time on that shoulder injury. Like I said, I just wanted to talk a little bit
Yeah,
more about
no
the
doubt.
forearm stuff. So as you go into the shoulder, what did that rehab look like? Because you
So,
didn't have Flex Pro for your shoulder. Unfortunately, we're not
yeah,
there yet.
unfortunately, right. Yeah. So it started with Beacon down in
Yeah,
Cincinnati
yeah.
for a little bit, kind of just trying to get back, get some like scap work in, like because my scap, it was all upper trap, like super struggy. I didn't know how to use my lower mid trap at all. Like literally couldn't like do a Y without using my upper trap.
I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about. Like
Yeah.
every action, I know this is
Yeah.
a podcast and nobody can see what's going on in my shoulder, but I've
hmm
been there too with my shoulder problems.
Yeah.
Like that is a
Yeah.
very hard movement to learn how to do properly.
No doubt. So like that was a big target attack. So then got that and then started working with Anthony Casciola, who
Yep.
you've had on the podcast.
We're
And I
big
mean,
cast fans here.
yeah, he's the man. Like wouldn't be where I am, like wouldn't be healthy without him. So he did my rehab and then Mike Mathewson did my return to throw. You'll see this stuff on Instagram, all the impulses and stuff, and you'll try, but like if you don't have somebody programming them for you, it's kind of hard. So having him be able to program that, all my lifting, all that stuff, and then having the throwing program too with that was huge for me. The impulses were huge and just like mentally being able to know I can throw a baseball again and throw it hard because if you're not committed to those, like it's hard. And it's you definitely have days in your return to throw where it's like that doesn't feel great. Is this coming back? And those days are hard, but I mean, just keeping on with it and then doing the rehab, being diligent, doing all of it, the throwing programs, it's huge. And they were so great with that. So that was huge for me.
I want you to compare kind of the
Mhm.
flexor rehab or the tendinosis rehab versus the shoulder rehab. And specifically, the point that I believe we can call out is the flexor rehab, you had very specific tasks to perform. It was more or less the Flex Pro Grip program, and I know you had a few other things you were doing in the process, but we
Mhm.
knew we were tracking your progression through Flex Pro Grip, that being the primary driver.
Mhm.
Versus when you look at a shoulder or your shoulder rehab, it
Mhm.
was a little bit more creative and free flowing in a sense, with kind of variables coming from all over the place. I hope I didn't steal your thunder too much there, but
Mhm.
I'd love if you could offer some additional detail of what it was like to have almost like a one-way street with the flexor
Yeah.
rehab
Mhm.
versus the shoulder rehab, like kind of not knowing which way to turn.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, definitely like looking back at it, like the flexor, like it felt really easy compared to the shoulder. Like I just knew I was going to do my Flex Pro stuff, hammer that out, and it cleared up like very well. The shoulder is just like there's so much going on back there. There's so many different things you can do for it. So it was huge having Anthony to take not like take me out of it, but like I don't have to just think a bunch about it. I can see what he's putting on True Coach and I just hammer it out. And it's not just like a 10Y raises, 10T raises. It's very creative, like you said, and fun. Like as dumb as that might sound, rehabbing was fun. The stuff I was doing was enjoyable, and it was hard because if it's not hard, it's probably not going to work. But like it was enjoyable because it was complex, it was hard, it was a lot of like feeling out, moving, like just moving, not just your shoulder, but like your body, your arm, all of it. And it was fun, and then it worked. Like it got me healthy. And that was the biggest thing for me was just get healthy again.
In the kind of quote unquote weird
Hmm.
exercises that you had to do in a cast program, because I know
Hmm.
what some of that looks like.
Hmm.
I'm not going to claim I know all of it. I haven't
Hmm.
trained with Cass, but I
Hmm.
follow what he does and communicate with him regularly. What were one or two of your favorite movements that you did?
I really liked the exploration days and stuff. We do like a all fours exploration. So basically, it's 3 or 4 minutes. You're on your hands, on your feet, like both all of them on the ground and just moving around, like flipping, like r bear crawling, all that.
Yeah, like
And
variable crawls and
yes, just
yeah,
moving around, feeling around.
kind
And
of
then
like your
also like,
breakdancing.
and then kind of like a dead hang exploration. So like I'd usually just go like a lower bar height on a squat rack and like just explore, like be like a monkey almost. Like and it was fun. Like I liked them a lot, and it helped me trust my shoulder a lot more as well. So,
Awesome. Yeah, and I guess I would encourage athletes to find a way to add that kind of stuff in because as we
hmm.
get older, we get so stuck to plans that we kind of forget to
Hmm.
explore. And
Yeah.
I love that that's the beauty of incorporating gymnastic type moves back
Hmm.
into training. I've tried to do some of that with my own training. I don't know if you're still doing some of that with the stuff you do
Hmm.
now, Chase, but
Yeah.
I certainly have felt that adding in a few days a week, I'm doing cartwheels just
Yeah. Hmm.
because. And the first time I did cartwheel, I just set a timer and did cartwheels for like 20 straight minutes.
Hmm.
And the first time I did that and I came out of it, not only were my shoulders, but like my wrists, my
Yeah.
forearms
Hmm.
were very sore and beat up in a good
Hmm.
way
Yeah.
because of the dynamic load I needed to
Hmm.
place through them. And
Yeah.
that stuff doesn't happen from traditional lifting.
That's a big focus for me now. Like just trying to move well and not just like doing the right exercises, but just trying to almost be a kid again, running around, doing stuff, just having fun. Because like I've lifted a lot my college career, high school, and I haven't seen a ton of gains from it per se. If you're into like the narrow or wide rib cage stuff and all that, like that was a new thing this year for me with our strength coach. He came from the Brewers, Grant Castellan, and he's big into that. And we talked a lot about how super heavy lifting and all that stuff and trying to get super big honestly kind of hurt me. I'd start to throw a little slower, got hurt a few times, but like just trying to move, just move well, just be movement, be free in your movement. Like that's a big thing for me now. Like trying to get that and hammer that.
Well, I do want to dive into that a little bit, the ISA stuff. So, what Chase is talking about, the infrasternal angle, so basically the angle of your rib cage, and we're commonly classifying guys into two main groups. Yes, there's a
Hmm.
spectrum to all this stuff, everyone. So don't think it is just purely buckets, but we have our narrow ISA and we have our wide ISA. And the idea is that that angle of the rib cage offers a good look into how athletes bias force production or the movements that they would prefer to make or maybe could make more efficiently. So now that we have that background, Chase, I'd really like for you to kind of offer your take as a player
Hmm.
and maybe how getting classified as a wide or narrow, so whichever one they classified you as, and how that maybe influenced your training.
So I'm a narrow, like I'm actually really narrow. Um, a lot of times growing up and like in the youth space, and then when you first get into college, it's just like get as big as possible, eat all the time, lift super heavy. Being a narrow, that's not, you're not going to, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's like you're not going to see as much gains as somebody if they were wide. Like that's kind of more of a wide ISA deal. So that was like learning about that this year because I'd heard about it, didn't really know much about it. I'm kind of learning about it more now, doing research with it. So that was really interesting to learn about that. And it kind of made sense to me because it's just like, oh, if my bench goes up 20 pounds, like, why am I not throwing harder immediately? Like, but just, and it's just a lot of movement stuff for me now. I'm still lifting, of course, like, you got to have the strength there, but it's just like moving well. And again, like I said earlier, moving free. Like, that's a big thought for mine. Just being freed up, not trying to be stiff, just throwing and flowing.
So are you taking some of that information, like being classified as a
Mhm.
narrow ISA, are you using that to influence the way you move on the mound at all?
Yeah, trying to. Like, I'd say I kind of lack I'm not super knowledgeable when it comes to mechanics and stuff. Like, I'm trying to learn more about it, and especially now I'm working with our strength guy, our development guy, and just trying to figure out what's best for my body and how to move well within that body. Earlier in the year at USC this year, I was moving super like rotationally, and I'm a lot better when I move linear. So it's just like trying to feel that out and get the feel for that when I'm on the mound, and then programming exercises in the weight room to translate to get those movement patterns more lined up when I'm on the mound. That was a big thing this year for me.
We've kind of backdoored our way into a USC discussion.
Hmm.
Let's talk about
Yeah.
USC in
Hmm.
general. So we talked a little bit about the weight room, what you got exposed to with the
Hmm.
ISA stuff. So that sounds like it was a new and very positive breakthrough for you that you had never been exposed to before. You
Hmm.
talk about the work that you did with the strength coach and your dev coach at USC. What did joining the program look like as a whole? What do you
Hmm.
think you gained from electing to go across the country to USC, taking the
Hmm.
chance? Big Ten rival. It's weird to say that USC is another Big Ten
hmm
school, but you go from Big Ten Ohio State to Big Ten USC. You elect to go there off of an injury. So, to an extent, they're a little bit taking a chance on you. And USC, traditionally great programs. So you also have to
hmm
go earn a spot. I know
hmm
I just kind of introed seemingly nine different topics for you to talk about,
hmm
but please just take it away and tell me
hmm
about this, I guess, the initial introduction to USC, and
hmm
then we'll spend some time about the season later on.
hmm So actually, my freshman year at Ohio State, my pitching coach was Sean Allen. And when that coaching staff left, he got hired at USC. So when I jumped into the portal, like he was one of the first people to contact me and then like went on a visit there. It was great, loved it there. And I'm like, I'm ready to do this. And it was big having somebody that I like had a track record and relationship with him being out there. So I kind of knew like what I was getting into in like a coaching sense per se. On my visit, he was like, it's similar to how things were ran your freshman year at Ohio State, coaching style wise. And I was like, okay, that sounds good. And then, I mean, the visit there's pretty cool with the being in LA and stuff. And the weather is really nice. And that was another thing too that was like, oh, I don't have to throw inside in the early spring, like throw live at bats in a cage. That was another big thing. Just being outside is nice. But got there in the fall. Definitely a bit of a culture shock. I've grown up my entire life in Ohio, and then I moved to LA. Like that was a bit weird to say the least. But I mean, just it's easy when you have 40 guys around you that are all like going for the same goal and like the people might be different in their own ways, but like a baseball locker room is going to be a baseball locker room. Just having those guys around you and learning about all the new people and just making new friends is huge. And it makes it easy to be comfortable pretty quick, I'd say. So that was nice. And then also like got to pitch again since I got hurt. Like my first live outings were there, so that was really cool. Definitely like it felt weird because it'd been so long, but it was good to get started there. Fall was okay. I wouldn't say I pitched the greatest in the fall. Coming back from an injury, the whole time you're thinking about, oh, I just got to get healthy, just got to get healthy. You kind of can lose sight of, oh, I got to perform, I got to perform. And I'd say that was big for me. It's just, I like failing, not viewing it as a bad thing, like just viewing it as a good thing and something you can learn from. So that was huge for me in the fall. But yeah.
So, after
hmm
not having the best fall
hmm
performance wise, where did you kind of stand going into the
hmm
year? Were you kind of at this crossroads? Did you know if you were even going to get innings? Because obviously,
hmm
pretty deep staff, some really
No
good
doubt.
pitchers that you have wearing is is it garnet and gold technically? Or those are scarlet and gold?
Cardinal and
Cardinal
gold.
and gold. Sorry, I'm
hmm
getting all my reds mixed up.
Yeah, a lot of
Um,
reds out there.
a lot of different reds. So
hmm
cardinal and gold. Apologies to the Trojan super fans. But yeah, so did you even know where you stood? Did you think you were going to be getting innings?
I mean, I thought I was just because like I throw strikes. I can fill up the zone. That's a big thing. That's always going to be something a team needs. So, and I'm always going to be confident in myself and think that I can prove that I'm good and like do well. And then had a good early spring before the season, so that just helped a lot too, getting the confidence back up. And then I kind of did a lot this year. Like did a bit of everything. Would relieve, start on Tuesdays, relieve here and there, kind of long relief or an inning here that like quite literally anything and everything. I kind of did it and which is funny coming off of injury like
Yeah,
you
usually you
that
want that guy to be in like the single most set
structure. Yeah.
routine
hmm
imaginable.
But like just that just kind of speaks to the like rehab and training I had done like it got me to where I'm able to do that. I didn't have a single arm issue this year. Not that it's like a good thing, but like I wasn't in the training room like barely at all this year. And that's something that usually I was in the training room all the time, like, oh, this is nagging, blah, blah, blah. Like, can you help me fix this? But like this year, I was like, I mean, I feel great. I don't really need to go in there and do anything more. I'm pretty comfortable with what I'm doing right now for my arm, and it was fun. It was fun to do a bunch of different stuff. So that was cool. And I mean, I'm a big Reds fan, and you see a guy like Nick Martinez. Granted, he's on the Rays now, but always love watching him pitch.
And
But
you
like
got
he
to
did,
throw that role.
yeah, hmm
That's super cool. Yeah,
hmm
I guess I never made that connection because I didn't realize how big of a Reds fan you were growing
yeah,
up. But you
hmm
literally threw the Nick Martinez role. What was your first start was on like a Monday, right? For like a
Tuesday against LMU.
okay. 'Cause I was trying to remember. I thought I remember you guys having like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday,
We did a
something.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday against Cal Poly. I think
Okay.
that was week 2, week 3, something
And
like
you
that.
threw that Thursday,
Yeah, and I
right?
threw Thursday. Yeah.
Yeah, so like you started on Tuesdays, you started on
hmm
Thursdays.
hmm
You did you get a start in one of the regional games, or was it all
Uh-uh.
relief in region?
All
Okay.
relief in the regional.
But also coming back on short rest, and you truly did it all.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy. And how many
hmm
innings did you accumulate this year?
I think 58 and 2/3, I think.
That's huge. I mean,
hmm
do you know what the guy who had the most on your team had? I can't
Uh,
imagine you.
it
I
was
mean,
like
what were you like third or fourth in innings on the year?
fourth, I think. I
Yeah.
mean, we had a guy, I think, go 100 something innings though, so
Was that your Friday guy who threw like 7 innings every single game or something?
no, I
Or
think he
9 innings?
actually finished with like upper 90s or something, but our Saturday guy, he finished with over 100.
I know you had a couple guys that seemingly went 7 or 8 innings every single game they pitched,
No doubt.
which had to be super fun as a staff to just
Awesome.
like every time one of you guys took the ball to be like,
hmm
I'm that guy. And then the
hmm
next guy can take the ball from him and be like, nah, man, I'm that
Yeah,
guy.
it's
So
fun.
was there some healthy internal competition on the staff with all that?
100%. Like we're always like everybody was always giving each other shit about like if they're good or bad or like and then but when they do succeed it's like congratulating them and like being good on them. But like you're still gonna give them like if they messed up at all it's like oh like you see
Yeah, that
that when
change
that
up you
happened.
hung.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So it's very healthy relationship like if somebody wasn't in the team space or something and they walked around, they're probably like, wow, these guys like hate each other or something. But it's all fun and games when we're doing it and it's all out of love. So
And what did bullpen bonding look like? Are you guys a big hacky sack club?
we had a lot of hacky sack. I'm not the biggest hacky sack guy. I kind of just like to relax, but we had a huge hacky sack. I think one of our guys created an Instagram page and he had some of those meta glasses and would record and edit videos in his free time of the hacky sack. So
So when you're in the pen, you're sitting there like, guys, come on, we just gotta chill.
no, I mean I'll watch it. Like I'm never gonna hate on them for doing it. Like it's just like you kind of do what you need to do to be relaxed before the game. Some guys like to play hacky sack. Some guys are like earbuds in, don't talk to me. But like everybody has their own thing. So just letting them do their thing, I'd say.
And your earbuds in, don't talk to me.
No, I not really.
You're in
I
between. You're
yeah,
just existing.
yeah, pretty much. Just relaxing, talking to people, walking around, doing whatever I feel like doing. Nothing crazy.
The chameleon. You just fit in with every crowd, right?
Exactly.
Hey, that's big. That's a massive skill to have long term.
hmm
But let's talk about maybe kind of the high and low that we
hmm
highlighted at
hmm
at the beginning of the
Mhm.
podcast. I assume absolute peak of the season had to be pitching in that championship game at Texas A&M.
No doubt.
Could you take us through that, please?
It was one of the coolest moments of my life, to say the least, up to this point. The environment there is really, really, really sweet, and I bet it's hard to beat it. But I mean, that regional we lost game one to Texas State, and it's like, oh no, like we have a big hole to fill now. Like we're digging right now, but I mean, pitching the Lamar game, that was our second game. Actually, stole a win there. Came in like with like an out in the fourth or fifth inning. So
That's
ended up
right.
stealing a win there. Win that, then have a game against Texas State the next day. We win that, played doubleheader against A&M, and then we had another guy who kind of did a swing roll. He'd start on Sundays, long relief, stuff like that, close. He went like 7 2/3, like absolute nails. Then we won that one. And then the next day it's like we started the guy we threw the first game. And it's kind of like, all right, like I know there's a pretty good chance I'm following him. He goes 4 innings, and then I come in the fifth. I'd say the most nerve-wracking thing is just being in the bullpen. I think it's like you'll get nervous and you get the butterflies in the game, at least, or in the bullpen for me. But once you get into the game, it's kind of like more calm, even if it's like a crazy environment and stuff. I'm not super let's go, like celebrating and stuff, just especially in environments like that, not giving anybody anything to rile them up even more than they are. But I mean, the whole time it's just like keeping my calm, like trying to execute pitches. You're still like aware of the environment and what's going on. And in those environments, I felt like I didn't have to try as hard. The adrenaline's there, so it's just being super relaxed, just making pitch after pitch. And if stuff goes south, it goes south, but just doing what you can to minimize. And it was really sweet. I mean, went 3 2/3, got the win, no runs. So that was sweet. But I mean, that experience was something else. Getting to win, especially there at their place, it was really cool and definitely something I'll never forget.
There had to be like 9,000 plus people
It
there.
was it was a lot of people, and then they have their section 203, their student section and stuff, and they're banging on the bleachers the whole game and stuff, chanting everybody's names. It was fun. It was really fun.
I almost interrupted you, but I didn't want to kill your flow.
Hmm.
Is the crowd's crazy enough? What's the point of
Hmm.
you being in the panel, like yeah, shaking the fence, like going
Hmm.
crazy? Like, what's that gonna do? You
Yeah.
might as
Hmm.
well just keep riding the wave. And I know you said it was kind of nerve-wracking being in the pen. You
Hmm.
said you thought you had a good chance of throwing that game.
Hmm.
I'm assuming you were told earlier in the day that you're hot. Like, did you
Hmm.
think you were gonna have a chance? Like, when did you know for sure the ball was yours?
I mean, got hot in the fourth inning. There was some traffic on the base paths. Got hot. Then he worked around it and then came out and he was on short rest. So I was like, all right, pretty sure I'm gonna come in here. And then they radio down like you're in the game. At that point, it's like, all right, let's go. Like here we go. So
We're gonna hit a specific question now. When you are starting versus when you are relieving, what
mhm.
changes about your approach?
I try to keep it the same. Like there's always gonna be some like changes just because like you have a lot more time
Of course.
in the bullpen. I've always been a guy that gets hot really fast. So like I don't need long at all. Just like rip a few heaters and then you're always gonna have 2.5 minutes out on the mound to get going. But starting, there's a lot more routine involved. And then like I would kind of try to not have a super big routine. I was doing both, so I didn't want to get too in love with doing one thing. So it's kind of just being relaxed, like being myself, knowing I get hot fast, whether it's for a start or in the bullpen. I still don't need to throw 10 times of what I do before the game in a bullpen game as I do a start. Just being myself, trying to not like be so like locked down to doing one thing, like being able to change no matter what happens. So that's a big thing for me.
So for you, was it almost more difficult to prep for starts than it was for bullpens if you get
I was
hot so quickly?
honestly, yeah, like bullpen's kind of easy. Like for me, like I'll just like rip some pull downs, throw a few pitches, and I'm like, all right, I'm good. Like there's not much thinking to it. Like you just do it and then get onto the mound and start pitching. So
Versus a start when
yeah.
they
Hmm.
want you to be like, all right, it's an hour and 25 minutes before the
Hmm.
game, so you should be at this point. And now it's an hour
Hmm.
17 before the
Yeah,
game, so you should
exactly.
be at this point. I'm
Hmm.
sure that's really difficult the first couple times
No doubt.
you have to do it, especially having previously thrown in the bullpen. You're like, dude, I'm getting ready in 7 minutes, and now you
Yeah.
expect me to expand a 7 minute routine to an hour and 25 minute routine?
Hmm.
How?
Yeah. Hmm. It's
I,
definitely weird.
yeah, it's funny. Most people talk about it the opposite direction, like starters
Hmm.
having to condense everything
Hmm.
versus you having to just be like, okay, like
Hmm.
we're gonna go turtle mode here and just like
Yeah.
slow and steady, slow down the
Yeah.
throwing program. Did you talk with your coaches about that at all? Like, were they able to help you through that, or was this more
Oh,
trial
yeah.
and error on your end?
I'd say definitely a mix of both. Like, definitely they'll be suggesting stuff, and I'll change stuff in my routine to try to figure out what works best. It's like a collaborative effort at all times with our guys, so that's a big thing.
Physical prep. You said you do a few pull downs and then just get
Hmm.
on the mound and go. Are you doing sprints, jumps, med balls? What are you doing to get the body going?
I mean, like if I'm in the bullpen, the minute I get down there, I just start moving my body around, do a bunch of joint moves, do some drop catches, run around a little bit, just make sure like my body temperature's up, try to get a sweat going. And then once I'm there, like I'm ready to go on the mound. Like I don't need to throw plyos or anything. That stuff's all like extra stuff. If it really came down to it, like I could just run down from the dugout and start ripping pull downs and I'd be fine. But that's just like trying to do that stuff so that I am more ready, if that makes sense.
Right.
Hmm.
No, totally. So I appreciate you going on that little journey with me. I know we were
Hmm.
talking about the highs of getting
Hmm.
the win at Texas A&M.
Hmm.
Now, the fact that you didn't close out the game,
Hmm.
when was the moment that it hit you that you got the W? Because of course, like don't get me wrong, team sport. I'm not trying to say you're
Yeah.
like a solely individual guy and be like, suck it, nerds, my win. That's me. Like, I'm
Hmm.
not trying to say you did
Hmm.
anything like that,
Hmm.
but after celebrating with the team, or like, what moment was it where you realized, like, holy shit, I just got the win
Hmm.
for us to go to a super?
Hmm. I'd say like I mean, once I came out of the game and the guy that came in after me got the final out of the eighth inning, it was kind of like you kind of take a step back from like competitive mode and like being locked in and stuff and kind of just relax a little more. Just like, and then I'm like, oh wait, like I came in the fifth, like I'm in line for the win right now. And like I like to say I stole the win because I mean, both times the starters went four and a third, the other time four innings, and I'm like, feel bad almost because it's like they did the hard part. They got us to that point. It's cool, like knowing you got the win and like that big of a game and that environment. Like it's just cool, I'd say.
For sure. Well,
Hmm.
now, speaking of win snaking or win stealing, if I'm not mistaken, you got the win snake in your
Hmm.
first game at North Carolina
Yeah.
as well, right?
Hmm. That one I came in the fourth inning, I think.
That sounds right.
Um, and went two innings. Came out of the game. I mean, we were down like I want to say 5-1 or 4-1, something like that. And then like after that inning, like pitching coach comes in and he's like, "All right, you're done. Like, be ready for tomorrow." Then walk down to the bullpen, and I'm like, "Come on, like, let's keep going." And then we get bases loaded. I'm like, "Dude, like a home run would be really sick here."
Did you call
And
Chipotle on it or whatever
no, I
you guys
didn't.
did? You
I
didn't the you
yard
didn't toss
card.
the hat at
No,
yard card, yeah.
But I mean, great swing, ball off the bat, and it's a grand slam. Take the lead. I'm like, oh my gosh. Funny enough, I get back into the dugout, and one of my teammates, who's he's actually becoming a coach now at Lamar, he came up to me. He's like, "What inning did you come out of the game?" I'm like, "I came out of the fifth." He's like, I was like, "I think I'm gonna steal another win here." So stole another one there.
That's big time. Now, we talked about the highs.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, we do have to talk about the lows.
No doubt.
You did give up the double against
Hmm.
UNC for them to move on. So pressure is a privilege, all those fun sayings that we can
Hmm.
say for you to have the ball in that situation. Obviously, you want the ball, but what was
Hmm.
it like going from the joys of victory to then kind of the agony of defeat? Like, how hungry
Hmm.
does that leave you going into
Hmm.
this coming season?
I mean, it definitely hurts, and it's just like wanting it more. We were so close, like we were one win away, and like after winning the first game, it's like, all right, like we're really gonna do this, and then we don't. It
Yeah.
just it's hard, and just like knowing, like luckily enough, you have a next year. Not everybody's fortunate enough to have a next year. It definitely leaves a bitter taste in your mouth and everybody's mouth, but just like wanting to do whatever you can to get back to that position,
Hmm.
just being able to like being in a super regional and being able to pitch in a super regional, it was a dream of mine. I couldn't have fathomed that. I mean, the previous year I was hurt. We won 13 games, and then I'm in a new spot and I get to pitch in a super regional.
Twice.
It's really good. Yeah, twice, twice. Like it's unreal. I mean, it didn't end how we any of us wanted to or how we thought it would have ended, but just being thankful for the opportunity and the privilege to be in that spot. I mean, even though we lost, like I'm never gonna forget that, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. But
Yeah.
it was cool.
Now, UNC obviously ends up getting beat in the championship game.
Hmm.
When you guys got knocked out, were you thinking, damn, those guys are pretty good. They've got a good shot to
Definitely.
win it all.
Definitely. I thought, especially with that side of the bracket, I was like, I think they're for sure gonna get to the championship. And I'm like, I think they had a really good shot, but ended up not doing it. They were a really good team for sure.
Between UNC, UCLA, you guys played some incredible teams on the year. So those two, obviously, everyone knew they were good.
Hmm.
Who was the best team that you faced that people might not be thinking about as like, oh, they were dogs?
Hmm. Let's see. Trying to think. Because like we played a decent amount of ranked teams this year. Of course, we played Oregon, UCLA, A&M. Honestly, like a team that I thought was solid, they actually made the turn was Cal Poly.
Yeah,
They were just kind of like a solid team, fundamentally sound, pitched it well, put the ball in play. The top of their lineup, they had two guys who like struck out like 3% of the time, something unreal. But they were just a solid team. I mean, their coach has been there for a really long time. But I mean, that was a good team, and they ended up winning that UCLA regional.
right.
Yeah, which is
Yeah,
crazy.
shocker to everyone too. That was sneaky and amazing regional with UCLA. St. Mary's played extremely well in that
Hmm.
regional. Then you had Cal Poly who got hot at the right time, and you saw what some of their pitchers did. I mean, those
Hmm.
dudes were nasty. It's unfortunate they didn't have a better showing at West Virginia, but they certainly belong when you look at what they were
No
able to do
doubt.
coming out of that region. So we'll make one more shift here before we kind of wind things down, and that's again your excitement going into next year. You
Hmm.
were just in this hybrid role. You have a new pitching coach coming in. What are you thinking? Is
Hmm.
it eyes on the starting rotation? Is it kind of the classic, I'll do whatever the team needs of me? And of course,
Hmm.
I know you're going to do whatever the team needs of you,
Yeah.
but
Hmm.
where are your motivations right now?
I mean, ideally, it's starting on the weekends. Like that's the goal, and I feel like that's what anybody's goal would be and should be, honestly. You want to be a weekend guy, and like I'm definitely gonna do everything I can to try to get to that spot. Again, granted, if I don't, I'm not gonna be upset or anything. I just want to pitch. I really love pitching, and if I'm in the bullpen, I'm in the bullpen. If I'm starting, I'm starting. Just getting the opportunity to throw the ball, it's a blessing. Not everybody gets to do that, so but I mean, I do want to start. I think starting is really fun. The routine is nice. I don't need it, but like it is nice knowing when you're throwing and knowing you're gonna get the ball every 7 days and you're gonna go as long as you can till you can't.
For sure. Well, that was going to be our last major pivot. Now, the fact that you have played at a couple different places, granted, both are Big Ten,
Hmm.
what has been your favorite environment to play in that was not the Super or Texas A&M for the regional?
Hmm.
I'm stealing those two from you because that's obvious.
Yeah, I'd say it's either Oregon or Nebraska. I'd say Nebraska is more of a traditional older crowd, if that makes sense. And they get a lot of people, like a ton of people. They play at a nice, really nice park, and it can get loud there. Great fans. But I'd say like Oregon, it's a younger crowd. The stadium, it feels like it's on top of you and it's loud and you're getting grilled by the student section that's right behind the dugout. And they do the twist and shout in like the eighth inning, I think it is, seventh or eighth inning. And I was pitching when that went on, and that was pretty cool. Like you just seeing everybody doing this, like jumping up and down. And that place gets loud. Like we played our last series, regular season series of the year there, and we had two extra inning games. Every game was decided by a run, and that place was rocking. It was really cool.
Those are some good ones for sure. Well,
Hmm.
Chase, now possibly the funkiest question, maybe the
Hmm.
hardest. Is there anything we missed? Is there anything else you need to get off your chest that you feel like we didn't cover?
I feel like we covered a good amount of stuff. I can't think of anything.
Cool. All right. Well,
Hmm.
then I'm all good. Chase, I
Hmm.
really appreciate you coming on
For
to
sure.
have this
Thanks for having me.
conversations. Yes. Now, I know you're not number one social media guy by any
Hmm.
means, but
Hmm.
is there a way people can follow along with your journey, or
Hmm.
whether it's the USC program, if there's social medias you want to plug or
Hmm.
anything like that?
I mean, mine are just my name. I think I
You
don't really
think?
I rarely post, but I don't know. I'm not super big on like posting myself. Definitely use it, of course, but I mean, I wouldn't say I have anybody to plug though.
So if
Hmm.
people want to follow Trojans baseball,
Yeah.
what
Hmm.
do you know what the USC
USC
handle is?
Trojans, maybe. Not quite sure.
Perfect. Well, we're gonna spin zone here and
Hmm.
say this is a great thing. You are so focused on your craft and you are
Hmm.
so focused on being in the present and being on the
Hmm.
field that you don't even concern yourself with social media.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
guys, if you want to get in touch with Chase, just figure it out on the back channels. Reach out to us maybe and
Hmm.
we'll be the liaison for Chase.
No doubt.
I'm
Doubt.
gonna hand up. I'll serve as the intermediary. But
Perfect.
Chase, thank you once again. This was great.
Mhm.
And of course, to everyone out there, thanks for laying back with us.